Hey guys, and welcome back to the Blaze TV podcast. It's been a little while. Sorry about that. Life kind of got in the way, and we also thought with the boys coming over to the UK, getting settled in, it worked out pretty well just to have a little break. But seeing as the regular season and the Challenge Cup are underway, we've got no excuse not to be back. So it's Ed Kimberley hosting with Stu Cole's back as well after a busy old summer. It's great to have him back, and great to have our first guest for the 2022-2023 regular season stuff. Defenseman Brady Norrish. Brady, thanks for joining us, man. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thanks very much, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it. It gives me a chance to reach out to the fans and whoever else you guys got listening. So yeah, I really appreciate it and looking forward to chatting with you here.
Yeah, you too, man. So I have this tendency, and you'll probably figure this out as we get to know each other a little bit through this in the season, to fixate on something in a player's CV or where they've played or whatever that I kind of associate a little bit with. So my dad's an identical twin. And
Okay.
they're both season ticket holders at the Blaze. Pete and John, they're there every week. And the TV game was last Thursday. I actually got to watch a game. I didn't have anything to do, and I was sat between them, and it was hilarious because I don't get to sit between them and watch hockey all that much anymore. But how they reacted to the game was hilarious because it was so similar, and I loved it. And you got to do something super unique in play, both college and junior, with your twin, your identical twin Chase, which I guess you get to play with your brothers. So like your brothers play hockey together sometimes. That happens. But identical twins, that must have been a heck of a ride.
Yeah, it was very exciting, and that's a question I get asked a lot too. Yeah, like you said, a lot of family members, they get the chance to play together with each other. Maybe there's a couple of age difference between you and your brother, and you get that chance every now and then. I was very lucky to be able to play with my brother basically all through my career up until our first year pros together, and that just doesn't happen very often. So being able to do that was really special and really exciting. And as you can imagine, we're very similar in a lot of ways. There's not too much for differences. He shoots left. Other than that,
Yep.
we're both very similar, and yeah, it was definitely a privilege to be able to play alongside my brother for such a long time, especially getting older.
When you were kids as well, I guess that made your coach's decisions for what to do with D pairings pretty easy. Oh, he's a lefty, here's a righty. Well, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much. We just got thrown out there together every now and then, and like you said, that's exactly how it was. Go play hockey, right, left, go.
So you did junior A. You went the junior A route, which I guess we always thinking junior A to college, the NCAA. Was that sort of what your brain was thinking? Because presumably you could have gone to the Dub or somewhere similar. You're a Saskatchewan, right? So it would have been the Dub.
Yeah, it would have been the WHL, the Western Hockey League. No, Chase and I were really just comfortable in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. That's where we played our junior hockey.
Yep.
We kind of just leaned that way, you know. There really was no ifs, ands, or buts about it, or leaning this way or that way. That's just kind of the guide that we went towards. We obviously were covered by them, so they had our rights. And when we graduated high school, that was the direction that we took. And obviously, things worked out very well. We were still able to play together, and that makes things easier on the family when they're traveling for hockey and things like that. And Yorkton was a great time, a good experience, and there was a lot of good memories that were made out that way. So I definitely appreciate the years that I had in Yorkton, and yeah, that's just that's the way that hockey took us.
You're a little bit modest because you won back-to-back league championships. You won, I think, it was the Centennial Cup as well, the Junior A championship overall. That must have been a heck of a ride for those couple of years. And you speak to some guys that have played their entire careers and never won a cup. I know we'll talk about your NCAA years in a little bit because you had some success there too. But when you're a younger guy winning back-to-back trophies, you must have been like top of the world.
We were very fortunate to have two very good teams. I was there my brother and I were both there for 3 years, and 2 of those 3 years all 3 years we had good teams, but especially those last 2 years we were very good, and we were fortunate to play with a lot of good hockey players, and we ended up winning some cups that year, which is anytime that you can do that in any sport is very exciting. And to do that with my brother was just as special. We were only at that time, I'm obviously a little further away from home now. At that time, I was only 3 hours down the road, which nowadays seems like nothing. So we did it close to home, and yeah, it was just exciting. And those are years that you'll never forget either. When you do win special things along those lines, I still have group chats with friends from those years, and it made it very exciting those last 2 years for sure.
And you've got to play with another teammate a little bit further down the road here in Coventry, in Tanner Lashinsky. What was he like back then in junior?
He's still the same guy, no. And obviously we're both from Saskatchewan, so I run into him throughout the summers and things like that during the off season, and it's always a treat to run into him. Like I said, we still have group messages and things like that, and we still always keep in touch. And just to be able to play with him again, especially since we were successful back then, and to be able to play with him again is really special. I've really been looking forward to getting over here and playing alongside him again, and it's been fun. Just going out there skating in practice and feeling it out and passing the puck with him again has been pretty special. And you can't take those things for granted. It's a friendship that's carried on throughout the years. So to be able to do that with him again is pretty awesome.
And that makes sense to me as well, because you both got similar backgrounds, right? I mean, his family are in agriculture. If I remember rightly, your family's from an agricultural background too. So I guess you kind of just clicked.
Yeah, we do. We do. We obviously got a lot in common, just like you said. Where we are from, it's a very small community. Saskatchewan's not very big, and it's a very big in the agriculture industry. So to be able to chat with him about certain things from back home is not something you can do with everybody, just maybe because they don't understand. I'm sure everybody's interested on the team, but just to maybe get that understanding from him is very nice. And he knows exactly what's going on back home, and he's got a great family back home too, and they got stuff going on too, and I love hearing about how they're doing.
That's good to hear. But so you did the NCAA route as well, and why RIT? Because that's upstate New York, Rochester way, right? So that's a little bit different to back home. So what appealed to you about RIT?
RIT was a place that my brother and I could both go, and that made it very easy on the family. And we did the tour and everything like that, and it looked like just a great place to play hockey, which it was. We were fortunate enough to go there together, and again, we were able to find a lot of success. And the college route is an incredible route that you can take as a hockey player. You can play the game that you love and then come out with a degree on top of that. So there wasn't too much downside with that route. And again, it was just a way that the hockey world took us, and we were very fortunate to be able to get opportunities like that.
Funnily enough, we talked to Kukali about this in the summer when we spoke to him, and his elite prospects had a typo. It said that he won 3 division banners, but he was like, "No, I only won 2. He was really modest about that and wanted to be factually correct." So, how many did you win when you were there? Because I'm not trusting elite prospects right now on this.
we won 2, and it was
okay.
and it was with Kooks actually. So he won the same ones I won, and yeah, it was really exciting to be able to play with him too. He was a big reason I'm here. He's an incredible guy, and he was actually my D partner for those years that we won the championship. So we have a lot in common. And again, he's a guy that I've always been able to keep in touch with, and he's one of those guys where you pick up where you left off. As soon as you see him, it's just like you haven't missed a beat, and we're back to the good old fun times. So yeah, he's an awesome guy, and to be able to play with him along those years in college was pretty special. And to be able to do it again here in Coventry is just, sometimes you can't even put words into being able to play with good guys and good players. And, Cooks is one of those guys for sure.
Yeah, obviously we've had a pretty big turnover this year, as you probably remember from playing against us last year, a lot of new faces. I'd never spoken to him before, obviously, but I was so struck by how level-headed he was, like how everything was measured, all of his answers, he kind of thought about, they were really detailed. I was like, man, this is a really mature guy for, somebody who's not broken 30 yet. Was he always like that when you were in college with him?
Yeah, he's always been a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders, that's for sure, and it's taken him a long way. He's a good fella.
Yep. You can catch that episode, by the way, with Alexander Kukali. The link will be somewhere. Go check that out. It's a really cool episode.
He was actually one guy that was over playing cards with it. He goes, "Hey, make sure you throw my name out there," and I had to make sure I did too, because he's a pretty awesome guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's like a 50-50 split with guys that do this. They're either inside somewhere nice and quiet, or they like, hey, we've got some nice scenery in the background. Like Talberg did it in the summer, and he was in his parents' place, and they had this forest behind him, and the sun was setting. It looked really cool. And then I think Kooks did it in his parents' backyard, and it was really nice. It was a nice place. But then they were building something somewhere. There's like construction noise, and afterwards he was like, "Oh my god, I was really worried about that. Was it too noisy?" I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Oh, I should have known. Otherwise, I would have found somewhere nice to sit. But no, I'm just in my room.
Also, it's pretty dark, and yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Trying to find a spot last minute in Coventry can be a little tricky. But so we've heard his take on why those RIT teams were successful. But what was your take? Because obviously you've won in junior, and then all of a sudden you're back to winning cups in college. That must have been quite the experience.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. My brother and I both. We were very lucky to run into years where we were very successful, and a lot of it comes along with just playing with good people and good players. And it's not very often that you're able to find that click that makes everything work. And those 2 years, well, all 4 years, but everything all put together, it was you're able to play better when you're in a good environment, in a good situation, and that's what college was. That's what Yorkton was. And so when all that comes together, it makes things easy. You have easier days. You love coming to the rink and playing with those guys and passing the puck with those guys. And it's just a good feeling. And you carry that to games and to any situation you have. And when all that's clicking and coming together, it's good stuff. And you're able to make special things happen.
Yeah, and I suppose you get into good habits as well. Like winning is a habit. So, you're able to translate from the junior game or your experience into the collegiate game. That kind of makes sense to me in my head anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And we were lucky to play with very good players along those years. It's nice when you're turning the puck and you know that everybody's competent and capable of carrying the puck and doing what they need to do and doing their jobs. And we were just a very well-rounded team, and it was nice. It was a lot of fun.
Stu?
Yeah, and I'll pick up on that point that you sort of mentioned just a moment ago. You sort of mentioned about how you're playing the game that you love. And you got the opportunity to turn pro. That obviously doesn't happen for everyone to get the chance to play hockey professionally. And in that first year of playing pro, you get to spend some time up in the AHL. I mean, what was that experience like with Texas?
Yeah, I did. That was actually my first year pro. I was actually injured there in that little span, so unfortunately, I had to sit out a little bit of time. But my first year pro did end up coming, which was amazing. But at that time, I was really just kind of focusing on staying healthy. And so for a full year, I actually just strictly trained and got ready for my first pro year. And I was lucky enough to be able to go to Texas camp. And it actually wasn't right away that I ended up signing. About a month in, I was doing well on the coast. And so they had made me an offer. And to be able to go up there, especially Texas, where it's beautiful and it's nice basically all the time, I was very fortunate to be able to do that. And the time that I did have there was very exciting. You're passing the puck with good hockey players, right? And they can do some special things. So to be able to be a part of that was pretty amazing. And it's a part of my career that I'll never forget for sure.
You said special players. Was there anyone who sort of stood out for you that you played with? You sort of thought that guy's going to go on and do something special, or sort of someone that you played with that's not kind of looked a bit different?
Yeah, they were all good, to be honest. Like it was just fun. It was so much fun to be able to pass the puck with those guys and do things with them. There's some guys that stuck out for sure. There's a couple of guys like Justin Dowling, Rope Hintz, Dennis Garyanov. Those guys are all in the show now. They stuck out for sure. They're good young guys coming into their careers and just making great plays. And it was fun to watch them play hockey and to be able to pass them the puck was pretty special. Yeah, those are names right now that I can think of off the top of my head. But to be honest, everybody was fun to play with and fun to be a part of.
Yeah, the people perhaps watching at home won't have seen it because Ed's eyes light up as soon as you mention anything relating to Dallas or Texas, because he's a Stars fan.
Yeah,
so
okay.
he's got the book. He knows all the facts and the stats about all of them, so he gets quite excited as soon as there's any sort of link there with Dallas and Texas there.
Oh, okay.
But the other thing you mentioned there was about playing in places that are really beautiful, and like you say, most of the time was in Idaho and Boise. I mean, there you're in the foothills of the Rockies. I mean, there's not many prettier places to play hockey in the world, right?
Yeah, in my career that I've had, I've been very, very lucky to be able to play in some great places. And Idaho is another one of those places. Obviously, they were the affiliate team of Texas, and it was a little bit colder there in Idaho, but it was just as nice. The snow didn't really stick around too much. It would snow, but it'd be gone by the end of the day, that sort of thing. A little bit cooler, but beautiful mountains, beautiful part of the country. A lot of outdoorsy type stuff, which I really enjoy as well. So it was good vibes there for sure. They have a very big university that's part of a very large part of the city as well, Boise State. We unfortunately never got to go to football games or anything like that, but it was still a beautiful part of the city. And where we got to play downtown was a very nice vibe, and it had very good fan support as well.
The iconic football one, because they got the blue pitch. It
They
just
do.
looks, it's so
They do.
different.
Yeah, very different.
Terrible if you're watching on TV, but probably brilliant if you're watching at home.
Yeah.
And again, you mentioned as well about sort of being in places that give you good vibes and you're comfortable. And then 2019-20, you're named as an ECHL All-Star. Does that come about because you're in a good place and you've got the right atmosphere and the right people around you?
Yeah, I think all of that takes effect, right? When you're in places where all that's coming together, you play better hockey and you're surrounded by positivity. Let's put it that way. You're just surrounded by good things. So to be able to be recognized throughout all that is a very good feeling. And I was lucky enough to be able to take part in that all-star weekend.
So what was the All-Star weekend in 2019-20? Because that was the year where the world started to shift. So how did you get it in before COVID? What did it look like?
We did actually. I think it probably was just before everything kind of took a turn. So at that time, there really wasn't much going on. There wasn't mandatory masks. Everything wasn't shut down or anything. Excuse me. So we were able to really enjoy the weekend and have a good time. It was fun. It was fun to be out there with all those guys. Some guys you knew, some guys you didn't, because they were in different divisions. But it was cool to see it nonetheless and be a part of it.
And then the following year, the world is burning down around us. Some people played some hockey, and some people didn't. And you're one of those people. You know hockey for you 2020-21, not professionally at least. What were you getting up to?
I was actually rehabbing because just before COVID actually hit, and probably a few weeks after that All-Star weekend, I ended up tearing my ACL on my right knee. And so that weekend was actually the weekend that got canceled. I think we played Saturday, and then the season came to an end on Sunday. And that Saturday, I had hurt my knee. So I ended up getting surgery and sitting out, I don't know, I think I was about 5.5 months of rehab. And then I ended up tearing my Achilles during rehab. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not playing this year, which it didn't turn out too bad just because of all the COVID stuff. There wasn't a lot of teams that were going. Some were going overseas, some weren't. Some were going in the coast, some weren't. So I really just took the year to get everything better and back into place, basically. And then I went from there.
And I think that's a story that we're starting to hear more and more, that a lot of players who might have, potentially struggled and pushed themselves to get through a year, or maybe played a little bit banged up, actually took the time to heal themselves. And it might have helped a few people long term by not having to stress your bodies out quite so much.
Yeah, I think you're right. And a lot of those seasons, those AHL seasons and those East Coast seasons, there's a lot of hockey thrown into a small amount of time. And sometimes it's 3-3s and, 3 games in 3 nights. It's pretty hard on the body. And there's some guys that are getting older. There's some young guys there too. And everybody's banged up all around. So to be able to get just a year to, obviously it wasn't the way I wanted it to go, but to get that year to get my body right was nice.
Then after that, you'd a bit of a gear change, I guess, leaving the AHL, ECHL behind and coming over to the UK. You played in Nottingham last year. How much did you know about sort of UK hockey before making that switch?
I didn't know too much, to be honest, just because I was basically waiting until I was healthy and good enough to go. And so I had, told my agent, say, okay, let's give it a push. Let's go overseas, that sort of thing. He goes, well, I found whatever spot for you. And it ended up being Nottingham at the time, and said, okay, let's go. And so I really didn't know too much about it. I came over and it was what it was, right?
Yeah. So what do you think you learned about UK hockey, and maybe in comparison to what you'd previously experienced in the ECHL? Like where are we different and where are we the same? I guess
I would say obviously the bigger ice, that makes the biggest difference. You get a little bit more time out there. So I think that adds to the skill. that you find around. There's a little bit more patience. Guys are a little bit smarter with the puck because they have that extra time to make it. And the league's a little bit older. There's a lot of younger players coming into that ECHL and trying to make that jump and signing their younger or the contracts and trying to make that jump into the A and whatever else. So I think at a time, guys come over when they're a little bit older in their careers. So I think you find the league a little bit older, but the skill set and the speed of the game still stays the same.
Certainly, in the Elite League, we don't have the veteran rules that you would have in the AHL and the ECHL that kind of limit potential sort of numbers in that area. So,
right, yeah, it's there are quite a few regulations that limit teams from doing whatever, from stacking or spending too much money or whatever it is. So yeah, there's a few things that you don't see on the ice outside of the rink, that sort of thing.
Ed, back to you.
Yeah, sure. So again, another bad habit of mine, and I think it's probably less so, but a bad habit of Stu's as well. During the summer, flicking through, what we've got in terms of a roster, what we've got to sign. Those lonely nights when you've not got much to do, the TV sucks. You're scrolling through elite prospects and you're thinking, this guy would be nice to have, etc. And you're our last defenseman, so I seem to remember thinking about Brady Norrish from Nottingham because I knew we had 4 lefties and Clem as the only righty. It seemed pretty obvious at the time that Stewie was going to sign a righty, and we thought you were pretty good for Nottingham last year. Certainly fit the bill for what he was looking for, and boom, there you have it. A week or so later, Brady Norrish signs for the Blaze to complete the blue line, which is pretty cool. But how did that come about to sign with Coventry?
Well, actually, I was just at home being patient. I really hadn't talked to the agent or anything like that about what was going on, and it was actually Kooks who had name dropped me to whoever it was. I think it was Stu at the time. Said, hey, he's looking for a spot, wants to come, that sort of thing. Let him know. And so that's how Stu and I got talking, and so I kind of stayed out of the negotiations a little bit, but I had a really good conversation with Stu, and I had heard nothing but good things about him and Coventry in general. So I kind of let Stu discuss things with my agent, and I kind of stayed out of it, kept in touch with Kooks just to make sure we were on the same page. Reached out to Stu once more, I think, and it was nothing but good vibes, and we were able to make it work. And so I really owe a lot to Stu and Kooks for being able to get me here to be a part of the organization and program, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, Brazil obviously talking to Alexander, seeing that Tanner's name's on the roster as well already by that point, I think, is like, all right, yeah, cool. I've won with these guys. These are good people. I trust this process, and you come.
Yeah, exactly. And every team that you talk to, right? Everybody wants to, oh yeah, we bring in good guys, we bring in good people, and sometimes that's not always true. And you hear things about what Stu does for the program, and it sounds like he truly does, and that's exactly what he has done. So to hear that and to follow through with Kooks and Lish here has been a pretty good ride.
With Danny, it's like I don't know how much of this you'll know, but I'll tell a couple of stories because I've heard these over the years. He goes to ridiculous lengths, and it's the little things as well. So I was talking to one of the sponsors about World Mental Health Day, which is coming up on the 10th, I think. One of our sponsors, Energize, who partnered up with Will Bray, he asked them, what can I do to help this guy's mental health throughout the year? There was a sponsor, Warmead Electrical. They do lighting and heating. And he said, hey, listen, the dressing room is fine, but I'm not really sure on the lights. It's a little yellow, a little dingy at times. What can we do? And he was like, I got you. And just little things like that. The trainer's room now, Nikki's room, he made that get gutted out, made that nice and kind of I guess a lot more pro. Just a load of the little things behind the scenes. It's crazy. So he really does his homework on guys, and I think that shows massively. And,
oh wow, that's amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I guess, but I was just going to say, I mean, from the start to the season that we've had here in Coventry, I guess some of that's coming to fruition, right? You can feel that on the ice and in the dressing room.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, sometimes it is just the little things, right? The little things make the biggest difference sometimes. And yeah, lighting could make a huge difference. If you come into the rink and it's dim as heck and whatever else is going on, it sucks. So just to have that little chain is nice, and you never know what's going to make the biggest difference. And to be able to notice those things, to do those things, to be willing to do those things in the first place is huge. So yeah, that goes a long way sometimes.
He's going to WhatsApp me when he hears this and be like, oh, why have you told those stories, man? He's so modest as well. That's one of the things I like about Stewie. But yeah, I mean, come on, for a guy that's won what 4 or 5 cups in his career already, there's something about this group, isn't there? I mean, I guess you're almost the expert in the room on this. What's your take?
We're so far so good. Let's just leave it at that and put it that way. We have such a long season ahead of us, and every team's going to go through their ups and downs, their losses, their wins, and that sort of thing. But right now, it's good vibes. There's good people in the room, and we're going to try and make things happen. So we're just going to take it one game at a time, and that's really all you can do. And come to work every day and do what you need to do to get through.
We talked about a couple of the guys so far, obviously for obvious reasons that you've played with a couple of them. But one name that we haven't mentioned yet is your D partner this year in Nate Halbert. And what's he like to play with? Because you guys have some similar attributes in your game, right?
Yeah, I think we're complementing each other well, and he's obviously a great D-man. Old Halby, he's he's a lot of fun to be with in practice, to pretty much everything that he does. Really, he's just a fun guy and a good guy to have as a leader. It's been exciting. I think we've been complimenting each other well, and he was another guy that was over tonight playing cards with us. He's just a good down to earth guy too. So far so good. It's been a lot of fun being able to play with him, and I'm well now I've for coming in, you hope you're playing with Lish or Kooks, but it's been really exciting playing with Halby, and I think we complement each other well, and I hope that we can keep it going.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's probably the stock answer now, because there's always a lot of mature voices in that room. You always try and build a roster where everybody adds something, but you're also part of the leadership group as one of the assistant captains to Halby.
Yeah.
What's that like? That's always an honor, right? When a coach says, "I want you to wear a letter."
Yeah, anytime that you can be recognized in any sort of way, especially like that, is humbling. I guess I'm just an older guy, and same with those other guys that got letters on their jerseys in there. They're good guys. That's what goes the longest way. I think you want those guys to be good people, guys that if you have somebody that is struggling, they're not afraid to come up and talk to you, or you're not afraid to go and talk to them and that sort of thing. And I think we have that experience that we're able to maybe push onto the younger guys and hopefully bring everybody along. And right now, I think we have a good balance. It's nice, and not only do we have that with the 4 that have letters, we have that throughout the room as well. There's good people in there that can lead, and to be able to have that balance throughout the whole team is really nice to have.
Yeah, no, I agree, and certainly just in terms of the line makeup as well. And aside from losing Lashinsky to some injury over last weekend, and obviously Pavo, he's kind of kept the forward and the D blocks the same, right? I mean, we've seen other teams have had to mix it up or whatnot. Maybe they've got a little bit of a deeper roster with a couple of guys sitting so they can throw them in there. But you played predominantly behind that line with Yellowhorn, Quince, and Billings. That's a nice forward group to play behind, I imagine, because they seem like they want to play in all 3 zones pretty conclusively.
Yeah, those guys especially, they move the puck very well, and they move. They're just able to find that open ice and make the plays that you can get to open ice yourself. That line moves the puck well, and it's nice to be able to be out with them a lot. But not only them, we have 3 very solid lines that can really go, and you've obviously seen that as the season's gone on here early, and for us to not have to meddle with lines too much yet is easier on Stu, and it's easier on the guys as well, and they're able to find chemistry early. So we're not, it's not going to be perfect throughout the whole year. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be injuries, so it's going to have to get jumbled up, I'm sure. But right now we're going to stick with what works, and right now things are good, and guys are playing well with each other.
And I guess finally from me, you can't talk to a defenseman without talking to their relationship with a goalie. I mean, Headley's done an awesome job this weekend coming in, but obviously Pavo's the number 1. He started the season so good. He's a little fun, should we say? What's he like to play in front of?
Pavo is very fun. He's another good guy that Stu is able to bring in, and he just enjoys himself. He's out there having a good time. He's enjoying where he is. He's enjoying coming to work every day, and that's what you want out of anybody, and especially Pavs to bring that energy on the ice every day is what you need. You want to come in and put a smile on everybody's face, and that's what Pavs does. And be able to have him do that is pretty awesome.
It's infectious.
It is. It's very infectious.
I've done this 10 years and not a lot surprises me, but even that put a smile on my face, Brady, I gotta say. The dives at the end of the game was fun.
Yes, he's a pretty fun guy.
Stu, have you got anything else to throw Mr. Norrish's way while we're here?
No, that's covered everything from me. I think it's nice to hear that the team are bonding well, and that good things seem to be starting to happen. Obviously, we all know it's a long season, and things can change, ups and downs. But the start is positive, and that's certainly for Coventry fans is a very much welcome.
Yeah, it's just like you said. There's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a long season and things like that. But everybody says that you want a good start, and we've done that. But we're nowhere near having a job done or anything like that. We have a long season ahead of us, and we just want to keep chugging.
Awesome. Brady Norrish, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for doing this. And again, apologies. I'll break the fourth wall a little bit. Me and Stu were both really late. So thanks for your patience. I really appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Got a couple extra hands of cards in. That's all it was.
Well, hopefully they were winning ones. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Blaze TV pod. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. Brady, been a great guest. Thank you so much. And we'll if not see you at the Sky Dome soon, we'll see you back here on Blaze TV. Bye for now.